Now let's talk about the basics of routing. In order for a router to route, the router must first have destination addresses, second, sources that it can learn from, third, possible routes to the destination, fourth, a method to maintain and keep track of all of the information, and fourth, a method to determine the best path. Let's take a look at the makeup of the routing table. Notice here we've got a simple little network diagram. We've got network 10 over here, network 10.1.1.0. Right here in the middle we've got network 172.16.1.0. And we're on device A here, router A. This is router A's routing table right here. Router A's routing table contains two directly connected networks. Notice those networks that are directly connected will be indicated in the routing table with a C. By the way, if you want to see the routing table in your router, you type show IP route. Show IP route. Show IP route will give you the routing table. So you'll note that directly connected networks will be indicated with a C here. So network 10 is directly connected and network 172.16 is directly connected. Notice the mask, there's a slash notation. This is the bit count. There are 24 bits for the mask in each one of these. And then the interface out of which that network can be reached. So if I want to route packets to the 10 network, I'll route that packet out of Ethernet 0. If I want to route a packet from the router to the 172 network, I would route that packet out of serial 0 here. Notice also in the routing table you could have those that are indicated with an S. These are static routes. These are configured by the administrator, where the administrator types in a particular network address to specifically indicate the path to get to that network. Here's that 192.168 network right here. Right there, that Ethernet network over here. And that network, of course, is also reachable via serial 0. So from router A, if I want to route a packet over to network 192.168.50, I would route that packet out of serial 0, which is right here, so that it can get to router B. Router B will also have an entry in its routing table indicating that that network is directly connected. So in router B's routing table, it would be indicated with the C. Router B would route that packet to the appropriate network, at which point it would reach the appropriate device. So these are directly connected and static routes right there. But also in the routing table, you'll have learned routes. You'll have those that are static and those that are connected, but then also those that are learned by way of a routing protocol. The example that I'm using here is the RIP routing protocol, and that would be indicated with an R. If it were an IGRP or some other routing protocol, you would see an I for IGRP or D for EIGRP or O for OSPF. These are routing protocols. Now, it's important to note the distinction between a routing protocol and a routed protocol. A routing protocol is what routers use to exchange information about networks, where router A gossips about or advertises the networks that it has directly connected. So directly connected to A would gossip about or advertise that I have network 10 as a directly connected network. Router A would tell that to router B. Router A would also tell router B, hey, I've got the 172.16 network. Of course, router B is not going to listen to that information, the 172.16, because router B is also directly connected to that network. But router B would also send an update saying, hey, I've got 192.168. That's what router B would advertise to router A. So the routing protocols are what routers use to advertise networks that they have directly connected to them, or networks that they know about in their own routing tables. A routed protocol is going to be the actual packet that is being sent. Remember, the packets themselves from when we looked at the OSI model, those packets, those are those layer 3 packets, the encapsulated data at layer 3. A routed protocol would be a protocol like IP or IPX. An IP packet is going to be routed by the router to the appropriate networks that the router might learn by way of a routing protocol. So, routing protocols are used to exchange information about networks. Routed protocols are the encapsulated data packets that are being routed between routers. So that gives us a basic look at routing.